Hello and welcome back to this AWS course. Just a quick recap of where we're up to. We're in section 2 and this is lesson 5. In the last couple of lessons we created an AWS CDK application which first of all deployed an S3 bucket, an empty S3 bucket, and then it deployed a CloudFront distribution in front of that bucket. We then turned our attentions to building a website, and we copied a website in from the beginner's course and added that into our monorepo and ran Vite build over it. And we've now got a dist directory containing our website. So here's the source code, and as you can see, here's the dist folder, and it's got an index.html and CSS and JavaScript. So we've run the CDK application and we've got a CloudFront distribution with this ID and this domain name, and we've got an S3 bucket over here which is currently empty and it's got this name. So with that, our next task is to take this website and copy it into the S3 bucket. And once it's in the bucket, we will tell CloudFront to invalidate its cache, which will cause it to go off and reload from the bucket. And at that point, we'll have a public website up and running. So the first task is to get this dist folder into the bucket, and we can do that with an AWS command. So I'm going to do it manually to start with. So let me just show you. The command is AWS and then S3 and then sync, then the folder, the local folder we want to sync, so that's apps UI dist, and then the web address of the bucket, which is s3:// and then the bucket name, which we saw over here. It's just this. So I'll just copy this and paste it here. Close my quotes and -- delete, just to delete anything that's currently in there. Okay, so that has copied everything to the bucket, and if we now look inside the bucket, here we've got index.html and these assets. So the next thing we need to do is to invalidate this distribution cache, so it goes and reloads the bucket, and the command to do that is AWS CloudFront create-invalidation -- distribution ID, and then we need that ID from the website, this thing here. I'll just copy this and paste it in, followed by -- paths, essentially everything. So invalidate everything, go and reload everything from the bucket. And there we go. That seems to have worked. It says in progress. It'll happen very quickly. And now we can take this, a copy of this website address and visit it. And we should see our public website there, all working nicely. Okay, so that's good. The next thing I'd like to do is automate this process, so I can just run a pnpm command and have all of this syncing and invalidation happening automatically. And the first thing I need to do is grab hold of this bucket name here and this distribution ID here when the CDK application is running, and store them in what's called the SSM Parameter Store. So I will change the CDK stack application to do just that. Here it is at the moment. I'll put this terminal away for the moment. Okay, so I'll just insert a couple of lines of code here, and this needs importing. So a new string parameter, I'm giving it this name. This is just an internal name, but it's going to be held in this parameter, CloudFront distribution ID, and it's going to contain the distribution ID, and similarly CloudFront website bucket name. So if I now run prun cdk deploy, it's run those. And now if I go to the system parameters, so let's go to AWS console home. Now they're actually in this systems manager, which you can find this way, systems manager. And they're right down at the bottom in the parameter store over here. And you can see it's created this parameter CloudFront distribution ID, which has got this EL75 in it. And it's also created CloudFront website bucket name that's got this long bucket name in it. So now what we need to do is write a couple of bash shell scripts which are going to read these parameters and execute the commands I just did manually. So I will copy those in rather than write them in front of you. So the first one, upload UI.sh, I'll copy that and paste it into my scripts folder here. Starting at the bottom, if you recall, let's have a quick look up here. This command, AWS S3 sync folder, and then the S3 bucket -- delete. That is here, AWS S3 sync. And then this shell parameter UI dist directory is going to contain the folder name and S3, and this shell parameter here, or variable should I say, is going to hold the bucket name. So we create the website bucket name variable by issuing the AWS SSM get parameter command, and we pass it this CloudFront website bucket name and say I want the parameter value as text, and that will set this variable up. And we have just hard coded the folder directory. Okay, so that's that. And the other script, I'll copy that in as well. So let's just go back to the original command. Here it was, AWS CloudFront create-invalidation -- distribution ID, and then the string -- path. So here it is here again, AWS CloudFront create-invalidation distribution ID and paths. And of course this string here contains this shell parameter, shell variable, and we create the shell variable here, distribution ID, by calling AWS SSM get parameter, and we pass it this string here, which is this here. Okay, so once these two scripts have been run, they should do the same thing. Now, in order to run them, all I'm going to do is add a couple of lines to the root package.json down here. I'll just add a couple of lines like this. And in fact, I can automate absolutely everything with these two commands. So deploy everything is going to run CDK deploy, and then it's going to call deploy website. Deploy website is going to run the Vite build, and then it's going to run the upload, and then it's going to run invalidate CloudFront. So deploy everything should do the whole works. So if I just type prun deploy everything, you can see here it goes. There's a small error here. Okay, here's the error here. This should say upload-UI. Let's run that again. There we go. So to prove that this has worked properly, I will now destroy the entire stack. So I will say prun CDK : destroy. And I will pause the video while this runs. Okay, that's completed. And for good measure, I will also run package cleanup. So that is going to remove all of the node modules folders. In fact, let me just modify this package.json here, and I'll say remove the dist folder as well. Let's just run that a second time. There we go. So we really So all of the node modules folders have now completely gone. And if we look in the AWS, go back to Systems Manager, we should find that the parameters have disappeared. If we go to the distributions, refresh this, there are no distributions. And if we go to the buckets, we'll see that our website bucket has also disappeared. So we are very clean now. We've destroyed absolutely everything. So we're now in the situation where essentially we've just cloned this repo and we want to build everything. So we do pnpm install and followed by prun deploy everything. Now this is going to take a little while, so I will pause it and I'll come back to you when it's complete. Okay, so that has now completed. Let me just expand this terminal so you can see what's been happening. It all started off here. We did a pnpm install and then we did a prun deploy everything, and it deployed our CloudFront distribution and did a Vite build, and then it uploaded everything to the bucket and finally invalidated the cache. And along the way it printed out this CloudFront distribution URL. So if I go here we are, and you can see this is a completely new distribution ID. We've got the website completely freshly redeployed, and it's all worked. So with that, I will close this lesson.